Well, hello there, dreamer. Thank you so much for agreeing to share your dream with us today. I am very eager to hear it. And before we get started on your dream, will you just tell us a little bit about you?
I will, and I thank you for asking me. I'm married with two grown children, and I still work in healthcare, and I enjoy making jewelry and going antiquing with my best friend.
Ooh, that sounds like fun. All right. Well, go ahead, dreamer, and share your dream with us.
Okay. This is a beach vacation dream, and I'm with a group of family members, some of which I know, but some that I don't know. And I'm alone walking on the beach, and I find what looks like a cocoon in the sand, and it's shaped like a flat egg, and it has iridescent scales on it. The mother of this creature is nearby, and she is a dragonfly type insect. So I start to dig out the scales because I want to show everybody in the family. And then I realize that the mother is worried. So I eventually place the scales back into the hole in the sand, the same place where they had been. And during the rest of the dream, I keep watching and notice the mother putting it back together. And that's the end of the dream.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. And tell us what was, I guess, the high point of the dream or the energy point of the dream?
I think fascination and a little bit of fear because
Okay.
it was an insect mother.
And how big was this thing?
The egg
Um,
was about like as big as like a look about like a football, I guess.
oh, that
And
big.
yeah, it was big. And then the mother
Mhm.
insect was, larger than the size of like a pelican. So
Oh,
on the big
oh.
side.
Okay.
And
Well, that gives me a new image in my mind. Yeah. Okay.
okay, okay.
So do you mind telling the dream again?
No, no.
Okay.
I'm on a beach vacation with family members, a lot of family members, some I know and some I don't know. But I'm alone walking on the beach, and I find a cocoon in the sand. It's shaped like a flat egg, about the size of a football, with iridescent scales. The mother is nearby, and she is a dragonfly type insect. I start to dig out the scales because I want to show everyone. And then it comes to me the mother is worried. So I eventually place the scales back in the ground, the same place they had been. And during the rest of the dream, I keep watching and notice the mother putting it back together.
Okay. Yeah. So let's see what we can do with this.
Okay.
All right. Well, shall we start with the setting of the dream? The beach or a
Sure.
beach vacation, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So beach and vacation. Let's do a little bit with both of those.
Okay.
So, how do you enjoy the beach?
It's my favorite place to be. I just
Okay.
Going to the beach every year is the highlight of the year. So I love the beach.
Okay. And what about the beach? What is it about the beach that is good for you?
Well, it's, typically warm and being barefoot, the waves, just the sound of the bird. It's an easy place to be still and listen to everything that's in nature, the birds and the waves, and it's really, really peaceful.
the birds, the waves.
And the pelicans. I love pelicans. That's my favorite bird. So, that's the time
Uh-huh.
that I can see them.
Fantastic. All right. Tell me about vacation.
A time of rest and getting out of your routine of having to get up, going to work, coming home, just having to be engaged in mindful things. And vacation is a time to turn all of that off. Sleep late,
Yeah.
eat
Yeah.
whatever you want. Very relaxing.
So, as a setting for this dream, this really sets a tone of,
Mm-hmm.
of relaxing, really sets a tone that this is uh, this kind of place in your psyche,
Mm-hmm.
right? This is a place in your psyche that's good, easy, peaceful, rest,
Mm-hmm.
out of the routine, relaxing, that this is a place
Right.
in psyche. Also, I will say this, dreamer, one thing that I like to think about when a dream is set at the beach is that the beach is where the water meets the land,
Mm-hmm.
where the ocean, the great ocean meets the land. And I think about that often at possibly, and I'm going to propose this if it rings for you, that the ocean is a stand-in for the great unconscious.
Yeah.
And where it meets the land is that place that in the interface between consciousness and the unconscious,
Mm-hmm.
where
Mm-hmm.
things are coming to consciousness, or they're right
Mm-hmm.
there on the frontier, if you will, of consciousness. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to make that note here.
Okay. Yeah, that rings very true. And even though the sea per se is not really in the dream, I mean, it's
Uh-huh.
more focused on the sand. The sea
Mhm.
has so much mystery and
Right.
like you said, the unknown and intrigue.
And I'll make that too. I'll note that here.
Okay.
Now, the next thing is that you're there with family.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So here's where you are in psyche, and family is there.
Mm-hmm.
And you said you recognize some of them,
Right.
but some of them you didn't recognize, but it had a feeling of family.
Right. And
Okay.
this dream I did have while at the beach.
Oh.
That's one thing that was going on then. And so it was a fun time. We have a blended family, and
Mhm.
all the children are adults now and have their
Mhm.
children. And so it's kind of a free for all. It's
Ah,
fun,
it, it,
it's everybody likes each other, and we really have a good time together. So
and was
it
that the
it re-
feeling in the dream?
yeah, it was
Okay.
current family. There was not any feel of like family of origin at all. Not only did I not, uh, I didn't recognize any of my
Mm-hmm.
childhood family. The feeling of that family was really not there.
Okay. And so how would you characterize them again? You had some good words around that. Free for all?
Free for all,
In a good way. I
fun
mean,
in a good way,
okay.
chaos in a good way. Um, I don't think the pets were with us on that trip, if I'm remembering right. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So again, this family, it's all very positive.
yes,
Okay. And did any of them, was there anybody that stood out, or was it just a feeling of the family?
a feeling of the family. Nobody really stood out. It's kind of like I knew they were there at the
Hmm.
beach house,
Yeah.
but most of the dream I'm by myself on the beach.
Okay.
and I wanna bring them in on it. I wanna take those scales
Mhm.
to show them, but I
Mhm.
don't really ever make it off the beach to do that, but
Okay.
they're kinda in my thoughts.
Okay. They're nearby, but not
Mhm.
visible, not n okay.
Right, right, not visible.
Okay. Alright. So, just wanted to make sure we noted
Mhm,
that. Yeah.
mhm,
Okay. Alright. So, at the beach by yourself, but with they're off camera, so to speak, and then
right,
you come across this thing,
right.
and you called it a cocoon at first, right?
At first, yes, that when I've this and what I usually do with my dreams is I write them down the minute I wake up, and
Mhm.
I don't try to, just words kind of flow out. So it's interesting that I said cocoon, but then it kind of, when I actually really look at it, it's something flatter. But anyway, I know that there's some kind of pupa in there. There's some,
Oh,
it's a unborn thing.
okay. That's okay. Say some more about cocoon and unborn thing.
Okay. Well, it struck me, it's also was buried. So, hidden, unborn, darkness, waiting on the birth, but really not being on a level to know you're in a cocoon. Everything's happening on the inside, getting ready for the birth, I guess. So I think of it as something that's pretty inert, but actually there's a lot going on with what's inside a cocoon.
Inert
I don't think.
versus uh, really and truly a lot happening, right?
Mhm. Right.
A lot going on, as you said. That is, I mean, that is so interesting.
Mhm. Mhm.
As we approach, anything in a dream, we at least one way to go at it is, what is this in me? What part of me is
Mhm.
this? And so, you know, any ideas about what might be, and I love this, it's going on the inside. Any ideas
Right.
about what's coming?
Well, another thing that was going on, I don't know that this really was connected. This is a happy thing that my my cat was lost, ran off. And so when I had this dream, I was making plans to get two kittens in a couple of weeks.
Mhm.
So, just on a real black and white level, I was anticipating
Okay.
new life.
Uh-huh.
But, that's more on the outside, on my inside of I always think about trying to find my true self and work through dreams to delve into that and to have dialogue with. And so it is interesting. So I have to wonder what in me is a cocoon right now or at
Al
that point.
Also, I think about cocoon in the way that sometimes we use the word cocoon as a way of describing when I want to pull in and kind of go home and get cozy, and
Mhm.
I want to get in my I want to cocoon a little bit. I want to
Mhm.
pull
Mhm.
in, not be out in the world so much.
Right.
Something along those lines. That just
Mhm.
occurred to me. I also think about oh, you mentioned a pupae.
Mhm.
That interesting, I think that's how it's spelled. That interesting fact about when caterpillars, now your creature is something else, but when caterpillars make a cocoon or a chrysalis and they
Mhm.
go into it, they dissolve and then it reemerge as this completely different creature,
Mhm. Mhm.
which always just blows my mind.
Me
How
too.
if
Me
they turn
too.
into soup and then they reform themselves. So this is such a, if nothing else, it heralds something new on the horizon. But let's see if
Right.
we can get some clues about the, you know, what it is, what it looks like. You said
Mhm.
it was the
Mhm.
size and shape of a football,
Mhm.
and it was
But
iridescent?
it had scales on it, and they were
Scales.
it
Okay.
was so, and it was in color in my dream. I mean, I could see that iridescent blue green, and it was flat. It was a little, it wasn't completely 3D. It was, but anyway, I definitely remember the colors of being blue and green and sparkling in the sun.
It sounds beautiful. I mean,
It
it
was.
sounds
It really was.
okay, so it was beautiful. We need to be sure we note that. And
Okay.
it was large, it was compelling.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
large and beautiful. So here you are on the beach finding this beautiful big thing that is in the process of becoming something.
Mhm.
That's exciting, dreamer.
It it
That,
is. It
that
is. It's fascinating.
it's that's and it's got a little bit of the flavor of something numinous, as you describe it to
Mhm.
me,
Mhm.
because of this iridescence and because
Uh-huh.
of its size. It has this feeling, and because that's just not something you run across in nature at the beach every day, you know.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and so just for folks that might be watching this that wonder what in the world numinous means, I like to say that if there's a numinous element in a dream, and if we look hard enough, we can usually find at least something in a dream that
Mhm.
speaks to something transcendent, that
Mhm.
is indicates something of what Carl Jung called the self, or the aspect of ourselves that's bigger than the ego, that's kind of holds us, the whole of the psyche, and animates us. In religious terms, it's the divine. The
Mhm.
numinous is that which is of the divine, of the spiritual. And that's what it suggests to me. Do you have a feeling about it?
I did that. Looking at the scales was really the main focal point of the dream, as
Uh-huh.
far as what I remember visually, and a feeling that it was not quite of this world. It was little like this was not anything that this with the scales, especially. I had the feeling, well, this is some kind of strange alien being. This is something different. So there was a little bit of fear in it too, but not
Uh-huh.
so much that I didn't pick it up and start picking it apart.
Well, that is the hallmark of something numinous, is that it is fascinating, but it also holds a little bit of fear or awe, something like that. That's the mark of something that's numinous. It holds a power in it, if you will, that's both compelling and attractive and fascinating, but also makes you catch your breath a little bit, you know?
Right, right.
So that's what this sounds like. I'm also interested in the the word scales. What I envision, and you correct me, is sort of like scales on a fish,
Well,
overlapping.
they were bigger than that, but they were overlapping,
Okay.
and yeah, they were large. They were bigger than on a feet. They were more. You could see the individual scales more than you can if you were just looking at a fish,
Uh-huh.
and the scales were thicker.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But the
So,
pattern of how they're laid out
uh-huh.
is like a fish.
Boy, I wish I could draw that. So I'm thinking, uh,
Mhm, yeah, they're about that size. They were big.
yeah, okay.
Mhm, that's good.
So something about that though does suggest protection, that
Mhm.
that is going to protect inside. There's a protective
Mhm.
aspect to that if they're thicker and bigger, but also the play on words about scales, meaning how to weigh something.
Mhm.
How to take into consideration, how to weigh something out, take into consideration this versus that, you know,
Mhm.
weigh things out. The other thing that occurs to me is that the saying, which I always think about St. Paul, the
Yeah.
scales
Mm.
fall from your eyes, meaning
Right.
see
I
something
thought that too.
clearly. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Uh-huh. Let's make that notation.
That's good. Yeah. Another thing that I had written down was the egg or the cocoon
Mhm.
was flat, so it's kinda like a paradox. It's egg shaped, but it's really not egg shaped because of the flatness. So that I thought that was
Mhm.
kind of strange that it was clearly not 3D.
Yeah. Yeah. That egg shape, or it sort of an oval,
Mhm.
like an oval. Is that what
Right.
it was? Or was it really
Mhm.
like an egg,
It
kind of pointing at one end?
it kinda pointed at one end, kind of a
Mhm.
yeah, like a oval. Mhm.
So that goes to a couple of things. That the egg and the cocoon are the kind of the same idea, in that something new is growing inside of the egg, something new is growing
Mhm.
inside the cocoon, or something is in transition, something is happening
Mhm.
inside of an egg, inside of a cocoon. And I think it's interesting, the paradox of it is that it's flat.
Right.
I don't know what to make of that. Do you?
No, I don't.
Okay. We'll keep thinking about it.
Okay.
I've got a much clearer picture in my mind, though, of it.
Mhm.
Okay. And so your feeling at this point, when you get it, right? You pick it
Mhm.
up, you
Right.
handle it.
Right.
Okay.
Mhm.
And the feeling of it is to show the family, to take it with you.
Mhm. I did. I wanted to take it to him to show him.
And then what stopped you seeing the
Seeing the mother
okay.
and getting the feeling that she was she was worried that somebody was picking up her baby.
Yeah.
So that's when I eventually placed the scales. It says back in the ground,
Mhm.
so and I don't have any memory about it now, but
Mhm.
it's almost like I must have picked the scales off, and now I'm
Mm.
trying to put it back together. But anyway, I'm putting it back in the ground because she's worried.
So she is like a kind of a so this is the mother,
Right.
and she is kind of worried, and
Mhm.
she's like a dragonfly.
Yeah, dragonfly type insect. And I named the dream chrysalis, but that's not, she wasn't a butterfly. So I can't explain me using those two words, but yeah, it was definitely a big dragonfly type insect. And neither, she didn't have any color. I don't remember that much about the details except that
Mhm.
her size.
Yeah, she had to have been pretty big.
Hmm.
The pelican size.
Pelican size, yeah.
Okay, that's big. Those are big birds. I have to tell you, recently at our lake in our neighborhood, we had
Hmm.
a flock of lake pelicans come. And
Really?
they were spectacular. They were white, but they had black wingtips, but they were pelicans.
Hmm.
They were absolutely spectacular. So I know,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they were beautiful. And then 3 or 4 of them hung around for several days and then they disappeared. So, do
Hmm.
you have anything you'd like to say about mother or dragonfly?
Well, I thought about dragonfly, and mainly because of the scales on the egg. I have the dragon comes up for me in dreams. And so I wondered about that. I mean, she was not a dragon, but
Uh-huh.
just, dragonfly, play on
Mhm.
words, and the egg with the scales on it,
Like a
um,
dragon.
like a dragon. I wonder about that. And, I had worked with that image
Mhm.
in the past that I felt like it had something to do with boundaries and protection. And so, she certainly was in the protective mode.
Yep.
So I kind of wondered about that just in the progression of dreams I've had about dragons.
Dragons. Yeah, yeah.
But mother per se,
Mhm.
more than just, instinctual, protective, but really just the image in the dream attached to her. So very instinctual mother.
So, when mothers show up in dreams, however they show up, we do
Hmm.
ask ourselves about our own, mother archetype, and we ask ourselves about our own mother complex, and by complex, what I mean is all of our associations with mother, personal mother,
Hmm.
other mother type people that have influenced us. It's a huge, huge archetype, and it's often our
Hmm.
biggest complex. And it can be positive, it can be negative, it can be a little bit of both. It can also be speaking to our own mothering. If we are mothers,
Hmm. Hmm.
it can be speaking on all of those levels, all at the same time. The question comes up, do I need some mothering? Do I need to be mothering somebody? What do I, or
Hmm.
where is this showing up in this form of protection and boundaries, which only
Hmm.
you can answer how that goes.
I think I would wonder mothering myself,
Mhm.
the need for more of that.
Mhm. And so how do you need to do that? Can you do that?
I'm trying to learn how to do it. It's meaningful to me. When things come to you in dreams, you just feel like it's such a loving message sometimes. And so I'll have to think about that of, how I can mother myself
Mhm.
and not have people pick scales off of me. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't,
Well,
um,
so
but
so the
that
choice
makes me
was,
think about that.
yeah, the choice was then to put this back
Hmm.
where you found it, instead of taking it off somewhere just to show it, but it's to put it back where it belongs,
Hmm.
kind of, so to speak.
Right.
Because there was this creature here was worried. It seemed to be worried, right?
Mhm. Right.
So you can also ask yourself, what am I worried about? Or,
Mhm.
where are my
Mhm.
worries in life? Am I worried about my children being a mother or some sort of these are things you can think of.
Right.
And
Mhm.
was the thing flying? Was it like hovering?
No, it was right off to my right,
Oh, okay.
on the beach.
Uh-huh.
So, I would've imagined maybe she had been sitting on it. I
Oh,
mean, I
right.
don't that wasn't part of my dream, but
Uh-huh.
she was very close by to my right. And,
Mhm.
it's funny that I don't remember, or I didn't write down any kind of sense of fear, where in real life I would have, been screaming, running down the beach if I saw a big dragonfly the size of a pelican.
Pelican. Yeah.
But so, So she's really out of focus in a way. I mean, I sense that she's there and I can
Uh-huh.
kind of see how big she is, but
Mhm.
and not liking me picking scales off. So I was really picking it apart. I was not dissecting it, but
Uh-huh.
you know, she was worried I was gonna kill it or hurt it in some way.
So that's an interesting idea, turning back to this page,
Mhm.
that you were picking it apart.
Mhm.
Okay.
'Cause I the way the dream that I was gonna take some of the scales with me back to the beach house and show them.
I see. Yeah.
My mind I wasn't I didn't have in mind to go get them and bring them back to look at it.
Ah, I think there's a real important moment of consciousness then that comes that between thinking of it as a pretty beach object that you want to pick up and take back to the condo,
Mhm.
versus a living thing.
Mhm.
It's a living thing, and an idea of that being, oh, this is a living thing, and its mother is worried about it, and you know
Mhm.
that I think that's an important
Mm.
just little moment there,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
this is something in you, you see,
Mhm.
and so to understand that something is um, growing, something is forming, something is in transition, and it's not time to pick it apart yet. It's not time
Mm.
to I think it needs I'm proposing this, dreamer.
Mhm.
It needs to gestate some more.
Hmm.
Something needs to continue to grow
Develop.
and
Mhm.
develop. Yes. And there's something about your dragon, your your ongoing image of the dragon that presents
Mhm.
itself as, hold on a second, hold on a second, and it's kind of like a boundary.
Right, right.
And so you carefully put it back.
Mhm.
And so I'd also be thinking, dreamer, about where where in my day, where in my life did I pick something apart that maybe I shouldn't have picked apart? Meaning, I don't know what I mean by that. Meaning,
Wisen it.
yeah,
Mhm.
overanalyzing something,
Overanalyzing. Mhm.
mhm, or trying to pick through something with the relationship or maybe the work situation, or yeah, overanalyzing. I think that's it.
Mhm.
I think
Mhm.
that's it. And it just wasn't ready to be analyzed yet. So you take heed of mother and you put it back.
I would imagine taking it apart could
Mhm.
kill it. I mean, it could
Yes,
I was kinda dismantling the cocoon
right.
just so I could show it.
Yeah, because taking it apart would kill it.
Mhm.
So that reminds me of, and so what we're thinking is that has to do with overanalyzing something or overthinking it.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
Which I tend to do
Me
most
too.
of the time. A lot of the time.
Me too. Me too.
Mm.
That reminds me of a teacher that I had years ago that you're familiar with too, Jerry Wright. uh,
Mhm.
Talked about dream images as being like holding a little bird in your hand, and
Hmm.
you want to hold the little thing in your hand very, very carefully and not scare it off, not try to hold on
Mhm.
to it, and then
Mhm.
it kills it. And I sort of translated that into using our butterfly idea, that we can look at a butterfly and really appreciate the little thing sitting on a flower. And
Mhm.
we don't want to take it and then pin it down to a board so we can
Yeah.
over analyze it, So
Mhm.
there was something going on. Say again when you had the dream.
It was about a year ago,
Okay. So there might
and
have been something going on then that this dream
mhm.
is commenting on along these lines. I don't know. You can look back and see.
Yeah, I'll have to look back.
And then you said the mother started putting it back together, or
Mhm.
okay.
And the rest of the dream, I keep watching and notice the mother putting it back together. That's something that I do not have a memory of. Like,
Mhm.
I definitely remember the egg and the iridescence and all that, but
Mhm.
it's so interesting how you can think you can remember a dream, and I'll just, "Oh, well, I'll write it down later," but
Uh-huh.
it's clear that details will slip away from you if you don't write them down, that's for
That
sure.
that is so true. So
Yeah.
she put it back together all the way, or she continued to put it
Mhm. Mhm.
back together. It just needed a little more time.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, to be thinking about what unfolded over the next you had the dream about a year ago, what has unfolded over the last year between you having the dream and us talking about it now, you might be able to see what was in the
Mhm.
what was in formation over the past year in whatever area of life, including getting new kittens. Did you get the new kittens?
I did.
Oh,
I did, and we just that we they're like our little babies.
yeah.
I
Oh,
still
that
miss my other cat, but yeah, I'll have to maybe do some active imagination or just really ask
mhm.
to have the dream continue or to shed some more light on what it might be.
I think that's a fantastic idea to honor the dream in some kind of way. When's your next trip to the
Mhm.
beach?
Well, I don't think we're gonna go this year, so it's probably gonna be another year, but I'll have to come up with some ways that I can honor it. It would be fun to kinda, through art, maybe make the egg
Oh, that's a
and
fine
color it.
idea. That
I
is
might
such a
do that.
that
I
is
might
such a good idea.
yeah, because I really do have the image of that, or maybe paint it, or I'm not very good at that, but creating it, gluing something together sounds a little bit
Mhm.
better. I might do
Okay.
that.
Okay. Yeah, I think you can get, like, at the craft store where the scrapbook supplies are,
Mhm.
you might be able to get iridescent paper or
Right.
something, like that to make it with, to make the scales
Mhm.
with. That'd be great. So you would
I'll
make
oh,
the what are we gonna call this? The egg? No,
I guess we should call it the cocoon.
the cocoon. Make the cocoon or
Mhm.
paint or draw the cocoon.
Right.
I just think I just think that is the best way to honor the dream is to
Mhm.
bring the image into the world. Make a
Right.
concrete, material version of that image and just
Mhm.
see what the not just the product, but the process of doing that. See
Mhm.
what might suggest to you. I think that's a great idea. So, do you feel like we got somewhere with this, Dreamer?
I definitely do. I really do. I'm just thinking about I'm gonna relate everything that we wrote and talked about, and just ask the question, what is that in me,
Mhm.
and to really write some things down. And I definitely had a couple of aha things about what you said all around the mother.
Okay. Okay. I wish you'd look behind me.
I see. Oh, I see.
Yeah. Eggs are
Mhm.
are very important to me as well. The egg shape, very, very
Mhm.
important,
Mhm.
symbols of life and new birth, and something's coming, dreamer. So, um, I hope that, and here's the thing about dreams too, they continue to speak to us. So, whatever is being born or whatever has been born, there's always more, you know? We've talked
Mhm.
about the dream now, and it could also be pointing to some more things coming into fruition. So,
That's exciting.
it's very exciting. It's very exciting. It was a lovely, lovely dream. And thank you so much for sharing it with me. I really
Oh,
appreciate
well
it.
well, thank you for having me on your podcast. It was wonderful.